Thank you very much. I want to divide this presentation into three parts. The first is how the city of Kristiansund embedded and built our master plan on the SDGs from the UN. The second is how we implemented U4SSC and the SDGs in our governance system. This work was headed by Vibeke Grønvik. And finally, what challenges we faced to be able to create the balanced society we all want. Now, you may recognize this. I especially like this way of presenting it because it says what happens if one of the circles actually fall out of the picture. Let's say we take economy out of the picture, we only get a tolerable society. If we take environment out of the picture, we only get a fair society. Now, at the end, I'm going to talk about the balance between these three and the challenge we face, I'm going to tell you right now. If we, in our governance system, want to start some actions based on a political choice on how the society should be, we lose traction, we lose oversight, because while the environment is counted in CO2 and the economy is counted in money, we have no real way of actually measuring how we are doing on the social side. So while embedding a good KPI set into our governance system, social sustainability is actually losing in the battle when it comes to environment and economic sustainability. Let me tell you a little bit about the city. We started out in 2016 embedding the SDGs in our master plan, and we realized very early that sustainability will be a digital problem. We need a good digital infrastructure to be able to solve these issues in a good way. Now, the first thing we did was to create something called a zero trust network. The whole city has open Wi-Fi. The government systems, they are all locked in the cloud, and you need a two-factor key to unlock them. So being the first city in Europe on a zero trust network, we got an award in Maastricht for that. We need to be able to solve sustainability issues. We need an infrastructure that welcomes technological solutions to sustainability challenges. Now, this is the plan from 2016. We did as the UN told us, and we picked out the sustainability goals most relevant for us. We built our master plan on it. We built the sector plans, like how we treat our kids, what we do for the elderly, how we support businesses. We based that on the same goals, and we created the action plan. That is a yearly plan that is the politicians' go-ahead for the administration to actually execute the actions. These are the hierarchical structure. So we have the SDG dimensions at the top. We have the SDG goals. We also have the main goals, the political local goals. And then we are using the U4SSC, United for Smart Sustainable Cities, KPIs to report how we are doing. Because what we want to do is to start actions that will influence the city's overall sustainability. And then we have sub-goals and measures. And we try to measure all of our actions. And when we put all of this into our governance system called Stratsis, we were way ahead of other Norwegian municipalities and cities in actually working in a structural way towards a sustainable city. Now this becomes a little bit more interesting. The city council has been through a prioritization process where they have prioritized the different SDG dimensions and each of the SDGs. And as you can see, there is a lot of focus in Norway on what we are doing on the social side. Not only are there more SDGs, social SDGs, but they also get increased focus from our politicians. And you may think that, hey, what's Norway has to do with that? Because we often do well on the quality of life index, etc., etc. But there are issues in Norway. Even if the economy is thriving and we are doing well on the biosphere part, there are societal issues that we want to address. Now, when I get to work, I can have a management dashboard overview that gives me a brief overview on how we are doing as a city, and this refreshes as often as I want. What are the tasks going on right now? What will be started soon, and what's completed? And of course, the progress continuously throughout the year. And with the U4SSC KPIs, we have implemented a very formal report regime where every person responsible for a specific measure is in the report, and that it's been given monthly to the politicians if anything changes. And as you can see, we have the economy, environmental, and society and culture as our 3 overall dimensions. And I just brought some examples here. Now we also have a history, and that's important. In the U4SSC history, where we were one of the first to implement the KPIs, and we did it in such a way that they are pretty much online. We don't have to go through a huge manual data collection process to get the data, which means it helps us manage things more on a monthly basis than waiting for data to become available, in a year, 2 years, etc. Different ways. We are also following up the GHG protocol the same way, looking at the different scopes, how we pollute, the way we pollute, etc., and what we have done with it and how it can improve. Another example. This is some of the KPIs attached to the SDGs. So when you're working on a specific area in our city, you will have access to your data and can take action accordingly. You can also go into a detailed format where you will see that over the years things are developing. Less red, more green, and actually something like drainage network coverage has decreased. So not everything is going the right way, but we are working on it. Another example where you can see a little bit more of the common thread, that we have the economy at the top. We have the productivity subcategory and the employment category that again breaks down into the KPIs and shows how we're doing over time. Now here is the most difficult part. How do you make political decisions from the action plan, the politically decided action plan, become action. And everybody that has looked at big documents, long-term plans, knows that the initial intention doesn't always make it into real life. And that's what we're trying to address. I'm chairing a thematic group in ITU that will look at this issue and look at how we are going to find a way that the action will be balanced according to the politicians' wishes when it comes to social, biological, and economical sustainability. This is how the U4SSC verification report starts out. This is how we look at the city from the environment, the economy, and the society. And it's broken down into subcategories and eventually KPIs that we measure all the time. And while this is great in measuring the society and the economy and the environment, we feel it lacks a way to be closer to what the social sustainability is about, down on the personal level. So while the KPIs are great in looking at the society, we need something else to tell us how people actually, how their quality of life is perceived by themselves. So there are drivers behind all of the KPIs that we need to address. We need to collect data more on a population or individual level, where we can look at self-esteem, where we can look at fairness, where we can look at safety. For a person's safety, it doesn't necessarily matter if the police is 12 or 13 minutes away. It matters for the society, but maybe it doesn't matter for the individual. There may be other things that makes a person feel safe or not. So we want to look at that and see if we can revisit the social aspect when choosing the right action. And there are a lot of topics or drivers behind social sustainability. If we start looking at self-esteem, fairness, safety, etc. Trust may be of an issue. Social support systems, empathy, physical needs, etc. And that's what we want to look at in the thematic group, it's what are the drivers behind finding out how to really measure social sustainability. Because before we do that, we can't really be sure that what we put into action actually will make a difference. And the factors in the city sustainability, we need to revisit the politicians' priorities when it comes to the dimensions, the SDG dimensions, when we select the right action. So we may have goal conflicts, we may have intersecting political ambitions, etc., but we need to find out what is the best action for a subset of the population. Working with social sustainability, one size doesn't fit all. Now this is from the preparation group. We have tried to structure this and made an example of a political decision that establishing meeting points that has a positive impact on public health. These may be implemented differently. There will be different actions that will be the right action for different parts of the population, depending on what they need. And we have to ask the question, why? Why do we do this? And then we may be able to avoid some of the goal conflicts. One population, one part of the city, one city district may have other issues that we want to solve than another district. And while we look at, and when we look at, for example, economic sustainability, there may be different issues. It may be liquidity, it may be debt ratio, it may be cost that is challenging a part of the population. And on the biosphere, maybe too much CO2, maybe it's methane, or maybe for that part of our city, it may be the way they're using their land, how they are converting it to areas where that pollutes more. And I think we lack that on the social side. We don't really have it broken down. What is or are the driving factors behind the social sustainability? Is it trust? Is it empathy? Is it self-esteem? Is it a mix of the three? I think a lot of the social sustainability is linked to physical needs, which again is linked to economy. But we will look at the human factors and see how we can make a decision that actually helps in establishing the political goals that the big plan started out with. And I think we can balance our society much better that way. This is the preparation group. We have been constituted just a few weeks back, and we are actually in recruiting mode, since we are not experts, but we are experts in our field, but not domain experts. We need competence when it comes to how to look at trust, how to look at safety, how to look at self-esteem. And that way, I hope that we can, by 2026, create a document that will help the cities implement more targeted action plans. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. We do have time for questions. Sure, if we have any questions. Yeah. One question over there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Martin from Denmark, and I'm the next speaker, so maybe this is a trick question. But to make a link, how much of this is linked to actual procuring of services or technologies? Mm-hmm. Because you point to the link between the wish to act and making that actionable, and very often that turns into buying services. And as you said, recruiting, of course, but that's more internal. So here, for those who want to help, also to deliver those services, it would be interesting to see what would your demands for a market be?
Yeah, I like your question, and we didn't talk about it in advance. We have the public Norway has a tremendous purchasing power, and there has been sporadic attempts in actually using that purchasing power to influence, how laborers are treated, how environment is treated, etc. And earlier this year, there was a law passed that said all of our procurement needed to have a 30% weighted element on the environment. And locally, the mayor is here. He was able to get a decision where we need minimum wage, etc. In all, and we need fair treatment of the employees, etc. So there are a lot of strict things in our procurement that actually drives that purchasing power towards the right direction and aligned with the political wishes. Thank you.